It's a date referred to as the day the music died, February 3rd, 1959, the day Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper died in a plane crash near Clear Lake, Iowa. But why is Buddy Holly still relevant 57 years after his death? Two Texas Tech University experts weigh in on his lasting legacy.
And what made Buddy Holly popular, what made him different was he was exciting.
His stage persona, his being relatable, he was a normal guy, you know, like everyone. We could almost imagine ourselves being Buddy Holly up there.
When Buddy Holly hit the airwaves in the 1950s, he turned the rock and roll world on its ear through his poetic lyrics and innovative chord structure.
I think that one of the most significant contributions to rock and roll that Buddy Holly provided was to depart from what was predominantly the formula for rock and roll, all 12-bar blues-based forms. And I believe it was Buddy Holly that was one of the first, not the only, but certainly one of the most important ones to allow rock and roll to start to become an art form, actually.
But it wasn't just his music that appealed to the masses. He had the look, the persona, the talent, the whole package.
He did it all. He wrote his songs, he sang his songs, and played the guitar while he was singing the songs, had his own band. He was a complete unit unto himself. And up until then, that sort of artist didn't really exist.
And you could tell how interested he was in performing, how interested he was in the music, and his own love for the music he played. He found a great deal of popularity with the British. In fact, he was, I would argue, more popular with the British initially than he was with Americans. He was popular with young Britons such as John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, because he wasn't necessarily pretty. He wasn't someone that was appealing like Elvis. He was someone that they could relate with.
Many musicians count Buddy as a major influence and have kept his memory alive through their songs and musical stylings.
Recording for really just over 3 years, and that's so limited when we think about performers that took influence from him and are still performing a half century later. So whether it's Paul McCartney or the Rolling Stones, other musicians from the 60s. So his legacy, I think, is witnessed through that influence and these musicians that still cite him, still routinely talk about him.
Songs that other people have written in his honor, the most obvious being American Pie, even though the author of that says it's not about Buddy Holly, but we all know that it is.
The Buddy Holly legacy continues to thrive decades after his death, near his hometown of Lubbock and abroad, something the experts don't see changing anytime soon.
Locally, Buddy Holly has a strong influence in that right now we're building a world-class performing space called the Buddy Holly Center for the Arts and Sciences. And I think that that is a really fitting homage to one of our greatest musical heroes that came from right here, Lubbock, Texas.
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye, yeah,
I think it's because his music, okay, we can use a cliche, it stood the test of time, but there's a reason for that, because it was well-crafted music and inspiring music, and generation after generation hears the music again for the first time, and there's something about it that touches everybody.
Buddy Holly is in popular music every day. You can find his influences every day. You can find references to his music, covers of his music in popular culture every day. It's not simply that he has influence in popular musicians that still play, but there is a relevance of his music, and he continues to impact that in ways that are not necessarily purchasing things on iTunes or buying CDs, buying vinyl, but rather whether you recognize it or not, he's there.
This is Lacey Nobles for Texas Tech Today.